And if you get one deal a year that pays you, let's just say hypothetically $30,000, was it worth it?
Guys, welcome to this video. I'm sitting here with my good friend, Charles Hernandez. How are you, Charles?
How you doing, sir?
Or Uncle Charles is like
Charles.
the nickname, right? Yeah.
That's Uncle Charles, yeah.
It's kind of like the uncle you never had, you know? You're kind of that way.
I try to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just so approachable, you're so likable, and I'm just grateful that I've gotten to know you a little bit over the past couple of years. I first met you in Milwaukee, and you're based out of here in Texas.
Yeah, San Antonio.
And, yeah, right here in San Antonio. This is like your playground where we're recording this video.
Yep.
And it's so impressive, Charles, you guys that don't know him, that you've built this empire real estate business. And your partner is your son-in-law, right? And Mike, and you guys have just done tremendous in your business. A lot of wholesaling, but you guys are doing all kinds of other types of investing. You're doing creative, you're holding, and you've just really, I mean, you're like me, you're like an old dog, right? You've been around for a while. I started in 2004, almost 20 years ago, and went through the whole 08 cycle, the 08 crash.
I went through that too.
Survived that. You were telling me some stories offline, and what I love about you, Charles, is you came from like a very humble beginning, very tough beginning, and have been able to really build and live this amazing life and amazing business. And that's impressive.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It's hard to tell, you know, we all have hard stories.
Yeah.
You know, we all come, I think everybody comes from something.
You can't avoid a little trauma in your life, right?
You can't, man. But I think at some point you have to place both feet down and make a decision.
Yeah.
And whatever decision you make, then be good at that decision. And and that comes with a lot of sacrifice, a lot of commitment, you know, endless nights of doing what nobody wants to do. Anxiety,
no sleep.
Rolling the dice, trusting
taking
yourself.
some risk.
Yeah.
I said last night on my presentation on the stage, I said, you know, this business is all about being able to make a decision about this business. Like, are you really going to do this? And then owning that decision.
Yeah.
Like, own it now. You made the decision to do this, now own it. Meaning, like, just do what you got to do what it takes.
That's true.
And so what we want to talk to you about on this video is Charles has some great, we coined it already, like bootstrap ideas here, where in the beginning, you know, you just don't have much to do, and you laid out a handful of things that you right now listening to this, if you haven't done your first deal, you don't have a budget, you don't have a team, you don't have resources, how do you start to create that momentum? How do you get the train, you know, moving? And you shared, I think, 4 or 5 or how many ideas, and let's go through these. So what's your first one? Your first one, if you're totally bootstrapping it, what's the first thing you can do?
So I think one of the most important things for people to do when they first start, of course, create a social media account. Because moving forward, social media is everything.
Yeah.
And what I have my guys do is create little postlets.
Postlets.
And so I tell them, go spend a day and find all non-real estate related groups.
So this would be like Facebook Marketplace or
anything that has nothing to do with real estate.
Just people.
Just groups,
people
you know,
are there.
healthcare, you know, take care of, cut your yards, whatever.
Okay.
And I actually heard this from another friend of mine that shared this with me. And what I do is I have them post every single morning on 10 different groups.
10 different groups every single morning.
And cycles.
And what are they posting?
They're posting a little postlet. I'm looking for a home. You can use a little rouge. Say, I'm looking for a home for my sister here in San Antonio. If anybody has a home that they're needing to get rid of, please give me a call. And you're not going to get anything for a long time.
Yeah.
But you just need to be consistent.
Okay.
And if you get one deal a year that pays you, let's just say hypothetically $30,000, was it worth it?
Yeah.
Of course. And it's going to take
minimal effort. It's just one thing.
10
but it's
minutes,
done consistently.
10 minutes every morning.
10 minutes, but it's done consistently.
Consistently.
It will generate a deal.
It has generated deals.
At some point, you're going to get a deal.
Yes.
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're just reaching out to an audience that's free on social media, and somebody's going to have a house they want to sell or know somebody, and you're going to get a lead.
Sooner or later, somebody's going to see your post, and someone that needs to get rid of a house is going to say, let me call that guy.
And it was a pet grooming page or whatever it was.
It was whatever. It was just non-real estate. Now, if you want to sell your deals, you go to real estate group. So
yeah, I've got a student of mine, and he's really good at the marketplace. So he just every day goes on Facebook Marketplace, and he puts similar posts.
Yeah.
and he's done deals from that now, and he gets great leads.
I have a guy that does it on OfferUp.
OfferUp.
So his strategy was, he started selling a lot of auto parts on OfferUp. So he got a really good following. That was his main thing. And then he just does post lists on OfferUp.
Yeah.
He gets deals every single month on OfferUp. You just got to build the audience up a little bit.
Yeah, great. So that's one. Go on a social media account and a non-real estate page, 10 posts a day that you're looking to buy a house.
Yep.
Okay. What's the second one? That'd be great.
The second one is something so easy, because we're talking about, at this stage, we're talking about individuals who don't have a lot of money. Is you need to start meeting people. You need to go to real estate meetups, to RIAs, to meet anybody who's doing anything in real estate, to include realtors. And guess what? Build up to about 100 individuals, and every 2 weeks cycle through those individuals, 10 people a day. You call 10 people a day in the morning from like about 9 to 9:30, spend 2 to 3 minutes on the phone with them. This is so simple. Hey Bob, how you doing? This is Charles. Hey man, I met you. You remember you met me over there? I'm just calling you. We talked about deals. You got a deal? Because that's what I do. I'm just looking for a good real estate deal. At some point, these individuals will get to know you. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, what's going on, Bob? It's me, man. Just calling. You got anything?
Yeah.
You spent 2 or 3 minutes on the phone with people. You didn't waste a lot of time. And they may say no a lot. And even those who get annoyed with you may say no a lot. But here's the thing. Most people are not narcissists. Most people have compassion. And if you understand that, at some point, somebody by default may be like, yeah, Charles, I got a deal, man, here.
Let me give it to you.
Let me just give it to you. Because they get annoyed.
You've been persistent. Yeah.
You're persistent.
Or front of mind, right? So like, you do that consistently, and then when they do get a deal, they're like, man, I got a deal. And
they got to think about you.
Uncle Charles, he's the one that I'm going to call, because that guy calls me every week.
That's right. And that's the easiest way.
So these meetups, if you guys don't know, they happen in every single city and every single town across America. Every month, every week, they're all over the place. And you just go find where these real estate meetups are. Some of them are small little groups. Some of them are a couple hundred people. But these are people that are building community, or they're networking with each other. And when you go there, like, don't just sit there like a fly on the wall.
Nope.
Walk around, shake hands, get people's contact info.
The one thing that's scary for people, I think, especially individuals who are not, extroverts.
Yeah.
Because I want to say I'm more of an introvert. People think I'm out on social media, but when I go home, I'm very private.
Yeah.
And it was very hard, for me to do this, especially like, culture-wise, as a Hispanic, we got all that machismo stuff, But I had to break through that, I had to actively force myself for a long time. I'm going to go and say hello to that guy. And that's what you got to do. You got to go meet everybody in the room, get people's phone numbers, let them know you were there, and start talking to them.
And bring value. So like, I like the idea of like, you meet people and you say, hey, what do you need? What is it that you want? What is it that you need? Is there anything I can help you with? And a lot of people can be like, no, man, I'm good. But if you're sincere and you get known for asking that, people are going to start to share things. They're like, man, I'm really looking for a realtor on my deal. And you just talk to a really good realtor.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to somebody, or whatever.
I think I think you'll agree with this. The worst thing you could do, in my opinion, is come up to somebody, especially if they're very busy, like they're doing deals, and say, hey man, do you think you could tell me how to do this?
Oh yeah. Hey, can I pick your brain?
Yeah, that's the worst thing you can do.
Don't do that. I get that every single day on social media. Hey, can I call you and talk to you? I got some questions. Don't reach out to somebody and say, hey, can I take from you?
Yeah.
They'll want to give to you, but you want to, at some point maybe, but offer, add value.
Figure out what you can do for that person.
Right.
And you might have to do it once or twice, but at some point, that person's going to take notice of you. And they may then be like, can we get on a call? Let me show you how to do this the right way.
Yeah, yeah.
You
and now you're on the phone.
Yeah.
I really believe in the law of reciprocity, which is the way that works is when you give, people naturally want to give back. Mm-hmm. It's actually a universal principle. Like, it's a real thing. People want to give to somebody who gives to them.
If you're a taker, you're not going to give very much.
Yeah.
And growing up on the street, you learn to be like this.
Yeah, guarded.
And I would say about 25 years ago, because I was going through my thing, maybe about 20 years ago, I woke up one day and I actively told myself, I'm going to be different, and I'm going to try this thing everybody talks about. I'm going to be a giver. And that's why people, they know I share a lot of stuff with them, because I figure if I share information with people that can help them, it always comes back.
Yeah.
Someone always calls me and says, hey, I got a deal, man.
Yeah. So your tip number 2 was to go to these local meetups, meet people, take down numbers, and then follow up the next week, once a week.
Yeah.
Once a week, is that about right?
So once you get your list and you get into routine, you should. What I tell my guys is post every single morning from 8:30 to 9, and then from 9 to 9:30, you're calling at least 10 or 12 or 15 people, 2-minute calls, and what you're doing is you're creating activity with 2 different channels already, and you got it done early in the morning.
Yeah.
And now let it run its course.
Yeah, and just do it every day, consistently over time.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the third one then?
So a good third one is this one costs a little bit of money.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah. So this one, and it's very simple to do. And I know everybody who's not social media savvy. I wasn't social media savvy for a long time, much less create an ad.
Yeah.
But you can find this stuff on TikTok all day long. People will tell you exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
Step by step.
YouTube too. Yeah.
And YouTube also. And so I say to everybody, create a $10 Facebook ad. We're talking about people just starting out.
Yeah.
If you're more advanced, look, I get it. You might want to do a lot more. But if you can afford $10 or $15 or $20 a day, get a good landing page, create your ad, and here's the little secret. Manually pick where your ad's going to show up. And I just put the feed. None of the other stuff, just the feed. And let it run its course. You may not get nothing. The first 6 months we did it, we didn't get anything.
Yeah,
Nothing.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be different for everybody. But the first 6 months, we didn't get anything. And after that, we were getting like 7, 8 leads. But I think I told you we closed, 11 or something?
Yeah.
And the average wholesale, we averaged it out, it was maybe anywhere from 25, 28 or something. But you got to think about that. What if you get one deal from that a year?
On 10, 20 bucks a day.
10, 20 bucks a day.
The ROI is insane.
It's crazy, but people won't do it because they think it's complicated.
Or they think, if I'm going to do it, I got to spend $5,000, $10,000.
You don't have to.
You don't really. And it's more about, this is kind of what I tell people about this as well. Like if you take direct mail, for example, people are like, well, I don't have a budget for direct mail. That's fine, but spend 50 bucks. You're not going to get anything, but what you are going to do is you're going to go through motion and you're going to learn the process of, getting the mail piece and figuring out how that works. And when I say 50 bucks, there's services that do this for you. Like we offer them in my software, like done for you. You just pick your mail piece, pick your budget, pick your zip, your address, boom. But just doing something that small, what happens is you start to trigger something in yourself. And you start to accept that you're taking action in your life and in your business. And small actions lead to big actions.
Yeah.
And every big action started out as a small action. So now next thing you know is you're like, man, we just got a deal on our $10 a day ad and we made $20,000. Now let's take some of that money and let's up our budget.
Yep.
And pretty soon now, next thing you know, you're running ads like the big shots are.
That's exactly how it happens. And I want to say something. I'm pretty sure you already shared this with all your audience. The trick with mail, and I don't do a lot of mail. I just do very targeted mail.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come back, somebody's there. If it comes back, you got to look for them.
You got to, yeah.
So a lot of times people are like, well, I don't know what to do with the mail. It's easy. If it don't come back, somebody's there. Go knock on the door, send somebody there. And if it does come back to you, that means it wasn't able to be delivered. So now you got to do a little bit of work.
Yeah. And when you say that, what it means is when you do direct mail, you're going to get a returns.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a whole, bucket full or a box full of like where the address didn't go, so it returned it. Yeah. As a bad address. That's normal.
Yeah.
Right. But that gives you feedback. That gives you information.
Everything you do gives you feedback.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, I have I'll give it to you for free. I'll put a link below because I don't remember the link, but we took all of our PPC ads and I created a whole little like PDF download of our best performing ads with like the images and the copy and stuff. So you can just swipe it. You don't even have to make up something or try something. I'll give you what we've used that works.
That's awesome. That's giving it there.
Yeah, so guys, it's just start. Just start. Like these are such simple principles. People kind of know this, but it's so great that you're reinforcing this, that you have your team do these things.
We do a lot of advanced stuff in my office.
Yeah, I know.
But, even my guys, so some of the things, like I don't have my guy runs ads because we provide all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I had them do, the postlets, I had them do the follow-ups, and then a few other things that we're going to mention right now. But for people that come to me, they're like, how do I start?
Yeah.
And I give them the blueprint. I said, this is, you want go, this is where you go.
Yeah.
Now, other people that have, funds or more resources, they can start at a higher level, with more advanced marketing strategies. But, today we're talking about those of you who want to get started.
Yeah, bootstrapping it, right?
Bootstrapping this thing, man.
So what are some of the other ideas? I think you've got a few others. You had mentioned to me that follow-up is like a big one. What's that?
I'm going to tell you something. For me, I know everybody hates follow-ups because nobody wants to get told no twice or 3 times. But, I ran into some really high, affluent professionals one time, and they were analyzing my thought process.
Yeah.
And I didn't know they were doing that. And then the guy said to me, can I tell you what your problem is? And I was like, yeah, go ahead. He says, you have no follow-up game. And I was like, how do you, because I've asked you all the right questions. I wanted to figure out how I can help you. Your follow-up game has to be on point. That's the most important thing, is your follow-ups. Individuals right now, if you're watching this show or this segment, if you already have a CRM, you should be digging into your follow-ups because they already spoke to you. If you're talking to individuals, you need to be calling them, making sure you're setting up dates, making sure you're calling them on the date that you said you were going to call them, at the hour you're going to call them. You need to be listening to what they're saying. If they're saying, my daughter's graduating in June, I'm thinking about that. When you call them, you need to tell them, hey, how are you doing, June? I'm just giving you a call. It's me, Charles. Did your daughter graduate? You see? And be empathetic about your conversations and be energetic. Don't call them like you're having a bad day. Always be up for the call. But what happens is it shows appreciation. Those people appreciate, like, that's the guy I talked to 6 months ago. He's asking me about my daughter.
Yeah, he remembered. Yeah,
he
cares.
remembered. But you can't remember all this stuff unless you're writing it down somewhere, making notes, like in a CRM preferably. Yeah,
I heard this statistic one time, and tell me if you agree with this. It was put out by the National Association of sales. And it was industry-wide in sales, 80% of sales are made between the 5th to 12th follow-up. You ever heard that stat?
I've heard that. I've heard very similar numbers, but I've heard that, and I believe in it. Yeah. My guys in my office do at least 3 hours of follow-ups a day.
Yeah, the win is in the follow-up.
3 hours of follow-ups a day. It's mandatory in the office.
Yeah, you guys catch that? That's mandatory to do follow-up.
Mandatory, yeah.
So all these things they need to be consistent, and there needs to be follow-up on everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, you've just given a handful of things that are extremely powerful, not one time, but done over time consistently. It will produce results.
Consistency is the most important thing, and I think with most folks who get into this business, whether it's any business you get into, we talking about real estate because we do real estate, is that if you're not consistent, or if you don't acknowledge in your own mind, I need to have the resolve and the fortitude to see this through. The worst thing that anyone can do, and I've seen it happen so many times to really good people, is that they get so close. They're so good, and you're like, man, this guy's good. And they get so close, and then they shut down, and they go back to 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And they just didn't know they were that close, or they just would just find a way.
Yeah.
And the reason they don't get there is because they're not putting the systems in place that will feed them. They think they have to do everything. They got to send all the SMS out. They got to make all the calls. They got to do all the contracts. You can't do it all yourself.
Yeah.
You got to set up a system.
Charles, thank you for sharing these. This is great wisdom here, years of experience, guys. I really appreciate you doing that. And I'm going to put below in the description your information for your social media and some of the things you guys are doing. You guys are really getting into some education and putting out really fantastic stuff. So we'll put that below as well. And guys, make sure you get into Charles' world and his son-in-law Mike as well. You guys are just a power team, and it's just really incredible that you give so much and you are such a force for our industry and making a difference. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you, and I will say this in closing that people like you laid the path. Sincere individuals like yourself. I thank you. You put out massive amount of content. You help a lot of people, and
thank you.
And I'm one of them. So
That's awesome. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, guys. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next video.